If blockchains explode and go the way of the dinosaur, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. Our system wasn't built around the blockchain. Our system uses the blockchain to deliver another layer of security and to deliver a few cool digital items for people who care.
Hey there guys, DJ Slope here, back once again for another episode of Slope's Interviews, and this is part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, please do go and check it out, because we've been chatting to Tommy Tallarico, who's a bit of a legend in the video game music industry. I don't think it's too bad to say that. I think that's pretty accurate.
I wouldn't say it, but you can.
Yes. Worked on plenty of games throughout his life, a considerable amount, and now he is the CEO of a little-known company called Intellivision, with an upcoming system coming out called the Amico. You've done quite a few interviews. There it is, on his t-shirt. You've done quite a few interviews about the Amico.
Yeah, I haven't done one in a long time. You know, we've kind of, what we found, unfortunately, is the more you say, the more folks like to twist it around. But yeah, I understand now, 3 years into this, why Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo just stay shut. Yeah, just shut up until they have, until it's 100% ready to go. But we've taken a different approach, Dan. It's fair to say that, we wanted to bring people along this journey with us. That was always our thing, was to say, you know what, we're not Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. And you've heard me say a bunch of times, we're not trying to compete with them. We're trying to do our own thing, and we always thought it would be interesting and fun for the people who are interested to kind of come along this journey with us, see the thing being made, see the mistakes that are being made, see the changes that we make along the way and why, see the games in their infancy and getting bigger and better and this and that. So, we thought, hey, that would be a really fun thing to do. And I think, unfortunately, what we learned is that being so open, being so transparent, is that it unfortunately, it causes a lot of drama. It causes a lot of misinformation to get out there. People will call me a liar, maybe, because something that I said 3 years ago that was true at that moment that we ended up changing. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, you're a liar. Well, no, and then, if the information's true at that moment in time, and again, to be open, and people always have questions about stuff, we try to answer everyone's questions, and then things change. And my gosh, COVID people, hello. Yeah, a lot of things changed, the way we approached technology, the way we approached the design, the way the budgets changed on everything, from the games to the hardware to everything. Everything had to be re-looked at along the way as you're making something. Yeah, you make changes. Oh, we wanted to go with a certain type of touchscreen, but then we upgraded and went to another one. Yeah, originally we had 16 gigs of onboard memory, but we upgraded it to 32. Originally we had Qi charging, which is, the wireless charging, but we decided to go to contact charging instead. All of these are for good reasons, right? Mm-hmm. But hey, you lied and you said this, and it ended up being that. And so, I would just ask for folks out there who are maybe looking at this from the outside, who haven't been following the drama and things like that, to kind of maybe, keep an open mind when you hear crazy things like, that we're lying to people and we're trying to scam people and we're doing this. Again, we've been an open book. We've been transparent and honest, and kind of, unfortunately, to a fault, because in this kind of crazy drama infused internet and YouTube, people like to create drama in order to garnish clicks or attention or, this and that. So it's a shame because, it's a shame that people are taking sides now and there's these Amico wars battling and I hate it and I love it. And
the funniest thing is the system's not out yet. And there are hardcore lovers. There's hardcore haters. It's not like the Xbox. You got like Xbox fanboys or Sony fanboys. Like, I love the Xbox or I don't love the Xbox, but you seem to have that for your console yet, even though over 99% of the people haven't played it.
Yeah, well, maybe that's
myself.
a good thing though. Maybe there's interest there, no matter what side of the coin you're on. We're certainly interesting to people, right? I mean, you know what would suck, Dan, is if we were talking about this and doing all these demos and things, and no one cared. Yeah. No one was talking about it because it wasn't interesting and no one cared. So I don't know. Maybe what is it? There's no such thing as bad publicity. I guess that's what they say. I don't know. I don't know.
So, I mean, it is a tightrope. I mean, in my experience from covering the Kick Scammer series, one of the things that constantly gets brought up is the fact of whatever the project, whether it's a video game console or a watch or whatever it may be, is the backers getting really angry that the creators don't talk enough. And you're the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Yeah, you're the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
We talk too much.
So, I mean, I don't think Mr. Grizzly, who's one of my my co-hosts on my Slopes cast, will mind me bringing this up. But we actually used to joke about the fact that, hey, if we bring up the Amico and say the name Tommy Tallarico 3 times in this video, he will turn up in the comment section. Like, he will be there, and it's so mind-boggling that would happen, because that would never happen with another console. And I'm not just talking of Sony, Nintendo, or Xbox or Microsoft. Sorry. The same thing doesn't happen with the Playdate or the Atari VCS, and I'm talking like lower systems, not lower, sorry, lesser known systems. But for you guys, hey, here's Tommy. He's in the comment section. He's replying to these people.
And it's not just me. It's Hans, the president of our European operations. It's Nick Richards, our COO and CFO. It's Phil Adam, our chief tech, John Alvarado, our chief technology officer. Phil Adam, Daniel Coburn, who does marketing stuff. So it's we're all very, very passionate about what we're doing, and we like to keep our ear on the ground in regards to, hey, what do folks want? What are folks saying? Where is the confusion? Where is the and look, I'll take personal blame for I've made mistakes. I've said things I shouldn't in the heat of the moment. So flog me, if you will. I'll take my lashes, my internet and Twitter lashes, if you may, if that what makes folks feel good. I've made mistakes, but and one of the big mistakes that I made early on, and which I don't do anymore, but is that I engaged with a lot of people who were negative, because to me, and again, I come from a different generation, right? I'm a Gen Xer, and I come from the East Coast. I'm an East Coast Italian, and we're known to like wear our hearts on our sleeves, no bullshit kind of people. We'll tell you exactly how we feel, and if we got a problem with you, we tell you to your face, and let's work it out. Hey, I got an issue, and at the end of it, we're either hugging or we're in fisticuffs. That's just, but, it's funny. But so to me, it was very natural if somebody said something nasty about me or said something that was false, I wanted to explain it. I wanted to say, hey, actually, let me tell you about this, or actually that isn't factually correct. Here it is. And so I would always try to come at it with being nice, a nice approach. But what I quickly found is that even when I was nice to a certain type of people, they would turn nasty really quick. Like they were getting an endorphin hit, realizing that I recognized them, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, look, I got his attention now. Oh, and they kind of like felt like, okay, now we can tear into this guy so that he'll keep paying attention and stuff like that. And it's just, and again, that's not my world. I'm not yes, I'm on Twitter. Yes, I'm on YouTube. Yeah, I'm on Facebook, but I don't make my living off of that. I don't, like, to me, Facebook is so I can talk to my mom and my brother and that my relatives know what I'm up to this week, right? That's, and to connect with, our audience, whether it's video games live or my music career or in television or whatever. And so, again, I'll be the first to say I'm not great on social media. I don't have Twitter etiquette. Sorry.
It's a tight rope because I've now got to a stage where personally, when I get negative comments, because as a content creator, I obviously get negative comments as well. But it's so easy to run past the 100 positive comments and then stop at that person. Totally. And one that I always remember was when I did my history on Grand Theft Auto. I don't think you'd ever be able to find this comment anymore, but I said I wasn't a fan of San Andreas as much as the two games that came out before it. And because of that, I had someone say that I was a racist because that was the primarily
I've been called racist too.
Yeah, that was the one with the most amount of black people in. And I said I just wasn't a fan of that game compared to the previous two. I replied to that person. I probably didn't reply as much to all of the positive ones, but because I replied to that person and said, "Don't be stupid," I was even more of a racist by that point. But the thing is, that person will now go away and say, "Oh, by the way, Slope's Game Room, he's a racist." There's a, I've just said that line. Someone will be able to take that out of context now,
And so it is, right? It's hard for, again, I think you're like me in that you're a guy who, and a lot of Londoners are, a lot of UK British are like this too, where they're going to tell you how they feel. They're not going to be phony.
Yeah. We don't mind putting up the old fisticuffs.
Hey mate, I'm going to take a piss out of you right now. And that's New Yorkers and British people. I feel are kindred spirits sometimes in that, we'll let it rip. Right. But that, in this day and age, again, and I've had to learn the hard way, doesn't really jive well with, cancel culture, with people looking to stir drama where there is no drama, people wanting to call you out on anything you've said over the last 20 years, people going back and searching message boards that you posted on 20 years ago. Aha! See, he's lying, and so it's, there's a community of people that enjoy the drama. Again, no matter what
there are entire channels based around. You've probably seen there are channels based around this on the Amico on a negative side. The same thing happens with when you get to a certain level of YouTuber. You will start getting channels created that are designed to be taking the mickey out of you as a person. So I understand that. But in my When I came to the realization that you need to obviously take on the criticism, either ignore the really, really bad stuff, but then also kill them with kindness to the people that are negative, but you could win them over and say, well, look, that was a good suggestion, thank you. That's when I turned the corner.
The word criticism is, it's an interesting word because most people, I think, view it as negative. Whereas what you said there at the end, thanks for the suggestion. And I think that's where it's like, you can give somebody a suggestion and that sounds like, oh, thank you for your help.
Yeah.
But when you say I criticize somebody, it kind of almost has a negative connotation to it, right? So what I always say is I say, look, I welcome suggestions from people, you know, but if you're just there to be negative and evil for drama's sake.
Absolutely, yeah. Those are the people I personally, in my field, ignore.
You know?
Yeah. Well, look, you know what? We've done this for about 15 minutes on this part of the interview, something along those lines, and we've not really talked about much about the console itself.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Now, I'm going to play a little game with you here, Tommy. Okay. I've got a... let me
Did he really say it? How about that? No.
Yeah, exactly. No. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be... I come from a bit of a sales background before the days of YouTube, and we'd always have to practice our elevator pitch. And for people that are listening that may not know what that is, an elevator pitch is you've met somebody in an elevator and you've got until you get to the top floor of the building to be able to sell them your product. It's normally around about the 30-second mark. And Tommy, you've just walked in there. You've seen me. We've never spoken before. I don't know who you are. I'm a dad. I've got a son, a daughter, a wife. We've all got Wii U t-shirts on. You know, like we're your target audience. You've got about 30 seconds to convince me. And you know what? I'm actually going to time it as well. So,
okay.
Are you ready? The door has closed. Let's go.
Okay, Intellivision Amico is a brand new video game console where all we care about is simple, fun to play, pick up and play games for the entire family. We don't allow any bad language or violence. All the games are affordable. Every game has multiplayer as well as a single player mode. And we have everything. We want to bring video gaming back into the living room. So we have a lot of retro inspired stuff.
You know what? That was 33 seconds. I think that was pretty good. That weren't too bad at all. Very good.
Okay. Now, by the way, I could have went for another hour. But
believe me, I know. I've seen some of the interviews. Don't worry.
Yeah, right. Unfortunately.
But obviously you've done your little your elevator pitch there. You've tried to sell it to me and my family. And what I will say is right now, because I did see someone comment on one of my previous videos when I was asking for questions that we're going to be asking you, is I can't believe Dan's an investor. Right. Let me just say straight off the bat, not everyone that likes the Intellivision Amico is an investor. I'm an investor in the sense that I backed it, and I backed it. You can probably go find the podcast, and when I did it, it was a good... I don't know. It was a long time ago. It was well before me and you spoke. Let's put it that way. Which was about 2 weeks ago. The first time I think we spoke, or a week ago.
So to be clear, I didn't pay you to do this interview.
No, there's no payments, there's no sponsorships, there's nothing like that. The only thing I've had from Intellivision is a stack of games which I've got right next to me, which I'm sure everyone that's watching this has seen that video. Yep. Now, okay, so you've got that, but let's talk about these games. Can you tell me what games will be on the system, starting with the ones that actually come free with the system? I mean, I know, but we're talking to an audience here.
Yeah. So the system comes with 6 built-in games. And a few of these are old Intellivision, I call it retro reimagined games. So games like Astro Smash, Shark, and Skiing are 3 of original Intellivision games that we've completely redone. And again, Astro Smash was a single player game. We've made it up to 4 players now. We've put a lot of in-depth, lots of more in-depth things. We've put in multiplayer mode. We've put in co-op mode, all sorts of stuff. But again, we're not trying to create Call of Duty. We're not trying to create, Red Dead Redemption here. So if you love those kinds of games, absolutely, there's great systems out there for that. Astro Smash, Skiing, Shark, and then we have Cornhole, which is a sport that's widely popular over here in the U.S. for tailgating parties where you basically throw a bag in a hole. I know it sounds stupid, but it's hugely popular. They actually have professional championships over here on ESPN, and it's just, it's crazy. And why that's a good game for Amico is that it's a very simple to understand game. It uses our motion controls, but also Cornhole is a game that's mostly that's played outside. And so for 4 or 5 months out of the year during the winter, most of America and Canada can't play Cornhole because it's an outdoor game. And so, it's a widely popular game. Nice to have it, indoors on your TV. Another game is Farkle. That's a dice game, a very popular dice game. And it's kind of,
I've seen that.
Yeah, it shows off our controller because you can, you move the dice on the controller and then you throw it up on the screen. So it's a very simple, easy game, a lot of risk and reward and that type of game. And then the 6th game is our most popular when we do our focus group testing. It's actually one of the most fun and most popular party games that we have. We haven't announced what that is yet because we're going to do a big reveal on a huge channel and with a big influencer. We'll put it that way. So that'll be closer to launch.
That's one that people have been asking. What is the 6th game? But if you've got a plan in place, you're not going to be telling me here.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'd love to be able to share it with everyone. But I will say it's a party game. And it's freaking hilarious.
Are you able to say what type of party game it is? Are we talking like Mario Party? Are we talking Wii Sports? Are we talking?
No, it's kind of like if you were to, I mean, I don't even know how to categorize it because it's a game that I helped to create and design. I guess you would put it in kind of like a technology board game category, but not really. So like, whereas Mario Party, I would say that's like a lot of little mini arcade games, right? But if you think of like Pictionary, where people are taking turns and creating stuff, it's more in that vein than a bunch of mini arcade games.
It reminds me, in that case, then what I've got going on in my head, and I don't know if you ever played this. There was a kind of a Mario Party spin-off for the Wii U. I'm a big fan of the Wii U. I've mentioned it quite a few times, but there was a Mario Party spin-off game like that called, I think it was Wii U Party, and in that there was a kind of Pictionary-esque thing where someone would draw on the screen. It's been a while since I've played it, but I think there was someone would draw on the screen, and then the people watching the screen would have to guess what it is, or something to that effect. Are we in that? Are we in that area?
Yeah, in that area. And another one I'll bring up is Jackbox. So when you think of Jackbox type games, it's like that. It would be in that realm as opposed to Mario Party. But people cry laughing. It's so funny.
Oh, that's
and
good.
Anyone can play it.
Yeah, I mean, multiplayer, when you've got a load of people around, a few drinks and stuff, then
up to 8 players.
Yeah. Okay. 8 players. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So you've got that there. The 6 games that are going to be coming free with the system.
Free. Yeah.
Okay. And on launch, are these the only 8 games that will be available on launch outside of those 6?
There's going to be more than those games on launch. Space Strikers. Gosh, let me see. Hold on. If you bear with me a sec, I'll actually get a list up of other things so I don't forget.
That's all right.
Let me see. Game budgets. Okay, so I'm trying to think of ones that. So I talked about Shark, Astro Smash, Missile Command, Moon Patrol, Biplanes. Those are all games we've mentioned. Battle Tanks. Is one that will probably now. When I say this, Dan, I do need to again, because I don't want there to be misinformation out there, or when I say something, it's taken the wrong way. So just to be completely 100% clear, these are games that I am not saying right now. I'm not saying that these will be there on day one of launch. So let's call it launch window. right?
Yeah,
so let's say launch, these will be available within the first, either on launch or within the first month or so, right?
Obviously, you're talking about you're going to be listing off a load of games here that are not these 8. But these
correct.
8, will these 8...
Dyna Blasters is one of them.
But these 8, will these 8 be available at launch?
Again, let's say launch or launch window, because I don't want to say anything that ends up not being, so-and-so game was available the week after you launched. So
yeah, okay, no, that's
shame
fine.
on you. Again, right now, that's the idea, is that all those games will be on launch. But again, if something's delayed a week, I don't want to be called a liar. Again, learn the hard way. Intellivision Pool is a game that's great, which will be there in the launch window, which is great. Flying Tigers, a really, really cool, unique, exclusive a vertical shooter. Let me see. Finnegan Fox is there. Evil Knievel's there. Brain Duel's there. Space Strikers is unbelievable. That'll be ready.
What type of game is Space Strikers?
Space Strikers is, gosh, and it's funny because like people like Smash JT who have played it, it's his favorite game. A lot of people, it's their favorite game. It's kind of like, it's almost like a 2D version of overhead version of like Rocket League meets Breakout and Pong.
Oh wow, okay.
Kind of, yeah.
Sounds up my street. That sounds cool.
Up to 4 players, but you can play one player and have human people on your team, or have computer players on your team, or play against any combination of 4 human or computer players against each other. And there's different modes to play it. There's co-op modes, there's single player modes, there's versus modes, there's high score modes, tournament modes. Really, and it uses the controller like, it's amazing, using the disc and the touchscreen and the buttons. It's really cool.
Beautiful.
A lot of our games are designed around our controller, which makes them really unique.
Excellent. Well, I was going to also ask about games into the future. I mean, obviously you've mentioned a few there that are, going to be slightly past the launch date. But the big ones in the future, Earthworm Jim. Earthworm Jim 4 is
Dolphin Quest.
That's the Echo the Dolphin spiritual successor, is that right? Which
is Echo the Dolphin. It's the team, Ed Annunziata and his team that did the original Echo the Dolphin.
Okay.
Working on Dolphin Quest, Night Stalker, Breakout.
Breakout, I'm very interested in.
Yeah, Cloudy Mountain. Those are all big games that are becoming down the road, because again, we really kind of have to do a soft launch because of COVID. And I'd love to put 1 million machines out there day one, but again, we're not Microsoft, we're not Nintendo.
No. Just to get an idea. I mean, for me, the most important thing about buying a system is the fact that, the games that are going to be on it. And I've bought this system, one, because it's like an interesting new gimmicky way of playing the system, which is why I was very excited about the Wii and the Wii U when that came out. But the reason I didn't buy the Xbox Series X at launch, I literally don't have one, even though I'm a YouTuber and I should probably own all of these things, is because there's nothing exciting gameplay-wise. And straight out the bat, if this is all that's ever going to be on that system, there's several games here that I'm from what I've seen, I'm going to enjoy. Cool. And obviously, I'd love to know what happens, with the new Earthworm Jim and all that sort of stuff. I'm a big fan of those as well. So, obviously, we'll go into a bit more detail about the games specifically.
And just to quickly kind of put a button on that, we have over 50 games in development right now. And I would say that 20 of those games or so are in the final testing stages. And I would also say that some games are, not even in the testing stages. They're just sitting on a hard drive waiting for the console to be released. So
okay, awesome. Well, yeah, we'll go through those in a bit. But one of the big new, not controversies, one of the new big talking points, I think is probably a better way of putting it, is these. You showed these off about a month ago, maybe, I think it was, about 3 weeks ago, something like that. So for people out there that don't understand, these are not these are different in the sense of they're not like they're not like this. They're not a cartridge that I can put into a system and it loads off the cartridge. Yep. These are different. Do you mind explaining to people how this works?
Yeah, absolutely. And here's a perfect example of, us learning and controversies and drama. So, like 3 years ago, we're like, hey, we're going to have physical media as well. Because there's no other name for it, right? What would you call like physical when you go into a store and buy a game? For example, if someone were to buy World of Warcraft in the store over the last 25 years, when you buy that box and you take that home, would you say that you purchased physical media for World of Warcraft? I think 9 times out of 10 people would say, yeah, I bought the box, right? But
yeah. I mean,
but that's a game that you have to be connected to the internet, that you have to download this and that. So lots of controversy about what is physical media. So we're like, oh crap, we don't want people to be confused. Let's not call it physical media. Mm-hmm. Let's call it a physical product. Let's call it our boxed editions of our games. Is that would you say that's a fair terminology? These are the boxed editions of our games.
Okay, so explain how they work.
So basically what it is we wanted to take kind of the best of both worlds from digital and physical. You say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, for me, the cool part of physical media is a unique box, unique items that you get inside there. What else does physical media have that digital doesn't? The fact that you can transfer it, that you can bring it places, that you can sell it, that you can give it to somebody else, this and that. Those are all the best parts of physical media. Again, for me, what are the best parts of digital media? Well, the best parts of digital media is that it's less expensive because you don't have manufacturing, you don't have, shipping and, all that stuff. You can also, have it on your system without having to put in a cartridge every time. It's quicker. You can download it. It's quicker. So what we want to do is let's combine all those things together. So what is that? Well, you get every game, boxed version of the game gets a collector's coin, gets a 3D lenticular card with information about the game on the back. The boxes as you showed are, the art is kind of a throwback to the 80s, all the old 70s and 80s artwork that we had. It is, on really nice, thick paper, because if you think about video game boxes over the last 30 years, folks, it's a DVD case. Can we all be honest here? Can we not stop? Can we all stop drinking the Kool-Aid? It's a plastic DVD box, which has a DVD in it and a slip of paper that slides into the box. That has been physical media, again, from the big three over the last 30 years, right? And even the Switch boxes are the same thing, except that's not a disc, it's a thing. So people say, well, how much does it make to do a DVD case with a slip of paper and how much does it cost to manufacture that? I'll tell you what it is. It's under $1.
Yeah.
Right? And so when people get on us and say, and it's under $1 and it's $60 that they're selling you that for. Right. And so when people get on us, it's always interesting to say, oh, well, you get a stupid coin and a stupid card and an RFID card that you have to tap and this paper, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, so we're spending more money and selling it at, $20. So you're getting more. But anyway.
So, I mean, Yeah, go on. Explain how it works. Yeah.
You take the card, you tap it on your system. Your system needs to be online. When you tap it on your system, you only have to tap it once.
Right.
It downloads the game to your hard drive.
Okay.
Now you can put that on your shelf forever. You never need to tap it again unless you're now. Well, because I need to clarify because I want to get in the weeds here. You tap it on your system, boom. Now that it's on your system, right? You can take your system offline. And all of the digital games that you downloaded, you don't need internet connection to play any of your games once you've downloaded.
Okay.
Let me repeat that again. You don't need an internet connection to play any game on Amico after you've downloaded it the first time. Now, if your system is offline, you will have to tap the card on the system to prove that you still own that game. Okay. Just like you would take any cartridge. If you owned a cartridge, you'd have to put it in the system each time. Now, if you're connected to the internet,
yeah,
then you don't have to tap it on the system every time. You don't. Okay? Because it's online and it knows that you own it. If I want to transfer that game, let's say I want to give it to you, I want to sell it on eBay, I want to take it back to the store, whatever, that RFID card allows you to do that. So that's pretty cool, right? I mean, it's pretty cool that for the first time for a digital system, you're able to transfer a game and sell or resell a game to other people, right? And so I don't really see the controversy there.
Right. So there's a lot to unpack here. Let me go through a few things. So I mean, I would be lying because people have obviously seen me doing the unboxing of these things. I would be lying if I said if I wasn't disappointed about the fact that this wasn't like a cartridge or a CD or a Hugo.
Sure, fair enough.
I think the fact that it's in television, and in television are a retro company, retro enthusiasts like myself obviously want a retro way of doing things. And it's quite funny that the probably one of the most new retro gaming systems out there besides the Atari VCS, which is complete bogus. I hate that system, but is actually doing something that's so futuristic, compared to what the others are doing. Now, that's obviously just my opinion.
And for us, and Dan, if I could pile on that as well, is I totally understand that as well. Look, I mean, behind me, all of those boxes, those are all original Intellivision, my original Intellivision games, and and so I get it. I'm a collector as well. Mm-hmm. You want to know why we did it? Again, two reasons. We wanted the versatility to be able to. So, for example, the way we built our ecosystem and our cloud is I'm able to take my controller, I can take it over your house, dock it on your machine, and we can play all of my games on your system, right? So it's this kind of sharing. So we're trying to utilize digital the way no one else has ever used digital before, and so it's consumer friendly. So the reason we approached our boxed editions like this is because we wanted it to be versatile, but also, it would have drove the cost way up on everything, on everything. And so,
that was one of the questions. That's one of the questions that's come up a lot. RMC, the Cave was one that basically just asked it as it is, and many other people have asked as well. So I mean, there's too many people to name, but they literally just said, "Why not?" And I think you've answered it there. Like, why not a cartridge? Why not a Hue card or a CD?
Again, our people, are already a little gun shy because of the price of the system now, right? And because again, we have a lot of different technology. Again, show me a video game system that gives you two controllers that have big color capacitive touch screens on them. I mean, come on, right? And we're giving you two controllers, right? Oh, and 6 free games. And so we're trying to build the value up there. And, and for us, you're going to hear me say this 100 times. We're not Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. Please don't try to compare us to those things, because when the Switch is $299. Yeah, when they put in an order for 10 million of them, sure, right? But we're a small company. We're not like that. So although my dream is to be ordering Amicos by the millions in years from now, that would be great. Yeah, our price is going to come way down, just like every single thing in the video game industry does. But the more you buy in bulk, the price starts to come down. So, but I hope people can understand that, you know, and again, I get it. People want us to be on the standards of Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. Fair enough. We'll try our hardest to be there, but we don't have the infrastructure. We don't have billions of dollars in the bank. We don't have any of that stuff. We don't have the reach that they do, the distribution, the manufacturing power that they do. These are companies that have been around making video game hardware by the hundreds of millions for the last 30, 40 years, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, we have to come at it at a different angle, and I hope people can maybe appreciate that, you know.
Well, let's look back at these games. So I know me and you have spoken, for people out there that are interested, we have spoken about exactly how these work and everything else in greater detail. And every time I go away and okay, I understand it. And then even now I'm thinking, oh, hang on, how would that work with that? So I'm going to be throwing some curveballs, and you can tell me
a scenario, and I'll tell you how it would work.
Yeah, sure. So you've already answered the fact that I've got a list here, but you've already answered the fact that you do not need to stay online to play these games.
Correct.
Right. And before going ahead, from what I can understand, the simplest way of explaining this is that they are physical digital downloads. Is that a good way of putting it?
That's a good way to put it. Sure.
Physical digital downloads. So
they
are
digital downloads. That works. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, you basically you tap it on there, and it's going to download on your system. Now, one of the reasons I showed off, and people have been commenting me and messaging me and DMing me like, Dan, stop showing the code on the back of the system. People are going to take it. Now, you said to me, don't worry about it. And you know, like at this point in time, if that Amico comes out and it I don't know, it doesn't work, there's a crazy amount of lag, then I'm going to be disappointed at that time. At the moment, I'm taking your word for it. Yep. You said it was okay to show those off on the video. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the gamble. If Tommy says it's okay to show them off, I'm going to.
That's
now,
right.
You've said that you tap it on your system. That's you now. It downloads on your console, and as long as you're connected online, you don't need to tap that thing ever again unless you take it back from someone else's house or blah blah blah. Yep. What stops people taking their phone into a game or GameStop or wherever it is, copying the RFID tag, and then plunk, putting it on their system when they get home?
They can't, because the chip and the RFID is encrypted. So you can tap it and you'll see a link come up to our website.
Yeah,
there's encrypted data. There's encrypted data on there that a RFID reader won't see.
Okay, so basically that code that is on the back of this card is not because a lot of people say you don't show that code because that's the code that's inside the card, but that's not the case.
Well,
right.
That code is part of the public visible link. If you took an RFID reader, you could do that, but it's still useless. You have to have the actual card in order to transfer a game, period, end of story. Okay.
So people are asking in the chat, how is it encrypted?
Well, that's a silly question. I'm not going to answer that question. How is it encrypted?
No, but what I'm saying, I think, putting it like this. So basically what they're saying is that, I tap this on my system. There's something in there that's more than just Intellivision.com /RFID /biplanes ? I equals. there's something else. There's something else that's encrypting it. What can you explain what it is that's more than just that URL?
No, I wouldn't say that publicly. No, I guess I don't understand. There's encrypted data that is proprietary Intellivision data, security data.
Okay, it's a security thing. You don't want to divulge it in that sense. Yeah. Okay. No, that's completely fair enough. I mean, you wouldn't ask the same thing of Nintendo or what have you, but it's just to clarify that you are saying that there is something on this card that the RFID readers are not picking up.
100%. And again, people are calling me a liar and this and that. Again, look, I didn't invent this. This is our cloud team and our security team of 5-6 people that have been working on this for 2+ years. Mm-hmm. That's where I get my data from. I'm not the guy there programming it. So, so yes, absolutely, 100%. That is facts. And if people don't,
no. At the end of the day,
I don't know what else to say, but
at the end of the day, I mean, these things it is a physical digital download, and I think that is 99% of the people that own this system are just going to look at it. You tap it, and it downloads. Yeah. You take it around a friend's house, you tap it on theirs,
I think it's unfair for people to call it a code in a box too. Oh, it's just a code in a box. No, it's not. No, it's not a code in a box. You buy a code in the box game, and you put it on your machine. You can't transfer it, right?
Okay. No, it's fair enough. Like I said, I wanted to really try and understand it more. So another thing that you explained to me beforehand was the fact that the reason this code is on the back is because, well, you've just said there that you will need to you'll need to tap the system on there if it's offline. But if I take it around a friend's house and tap it on theirs, that's when you need to type in the code. You don't need to type in the code on your own Amico, and you're the first person that.
Correct. The only time the code comes in is if you want to transfer it, the second person has to prove that they have the card and the code. Okay.
Cool. Again, we are literally answering questions here for the real nitty gritty of people that want to know how this works. When really it's just a tap and it works. If it's just that, then that's all it needs to be. But we're just interested in finding out more.
I saw a lot of kind of blowback and negativity of people saying, well, then you have like this NFT and all this transferring thing. And like, I thought your system was supposed to be for family and moms and casual gamers. And none of that is casual. NFCs and blockchain. Yeah, but they don't care about any of that. What do you mean? There's nothing. You tap it on the system once. That's all you need to know. So anyone's saying, oh, this is so confusing to moms. Moms aren't, you tap it. That's it. That's all you need to know. They play the game. That's all.
Absolutely. So I know one of the cool things that you've mentioned in your upload on your own personal channel is about how, because of these physical versions, when you tap these, in comparison to when you download a game, these are actually going to show up in the UI, as like a little spinny, it's going to show off the box. It's going to like spin around. You'll be able to look at the box, and these limited edition collectors will actually show up like they are with the limited edition collectors compared to the ones that
and they'll have extra stuff in there too. And this kind of ties into the whole NFT thing, because I saw your video and it was cool that you got so many different people to give their hot take on it, and it was interesting to me because the focus was so much. The focus of the negativity. I think a lot of people are like, hey, the boxes look really cool. Oh, I like the idea of this and that. The focus of the negativity was, hey, what about this NFT thing? And is it bad for the environment? And is it complicated? And what's the blockchain they're going to use? And what if it's out of business? And all these totally legitimate questions. We're not using NFT in the way that people are thinking about a normal NFT. And again, I'm not blaming anyone for being negative about.
Honestly,
NFT.
I mean, the Amico, I'm sure you won't mind me saying, isn't Sony, Nintendo, or Xbox. There's a lot of people out there that won't know about the Amico as much. And some of the people in that video, I won't say who, but the first time they heard about this physical media was when I sent them, hey, go and check out this reveal that Tommy's done. Watch that and then send me up to 2 minutes or around about that of your opinion on that. So they basically just took your video there as what was said. And I'm someone that doesn't really understand NFTs and blockchain too much. I've never really invested or ever looked into anything like that. So when this sort of thing happens, go ahead.
I'll give you kind of a layman's maybe breakdown of how we're using NFT. For us, it's an extra layer of security as one thing. And again, this is all consumer friendly stuff. It's to protect consumers so that people aren't stealing your digital games, right? Or your physical games. So physical download coded games, whatever you said there. I like that one.
Physical digital
and so
downloads.
It's an extra layer of security, which is good for everyone. But the other thing is that when you mint an NFT, your version that you mint may be more expensive or more valuable down the road, right? Because let's say, for example, that when I tap my version of Evel Knievel, maybe it's the 10th version that is tapped, or the 100th version, or the 1000th version. So having a serial number assigned to when you tap, when something special digitally gets minted in a blockchain and now shows up in your thing. Hey, did you know you're number 10 in the whole world, or whatever? And I'm giving these as examples.
I mean, it won't say that. It's something that you will know if you're looking for it, I assume.
Yeah, correct. Right.
Yeah.
Well, you'll be able to see it in the UI if you look for it. Yeah.
Okay.
And so having special things attached is just a nice, cool addition, cherry on top for all this. It's not, we didn't design the system around NFTs. If the whole NFT blockchain thing goes away in a year, it doesn't mean that our physical stuff doesn't work anymore, right? So that's very important for people to know and understand. It's just kind of a cherry on top, and we can turn it on and turn it off whenever we want.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I don't 100% understand exactly how blockchain NFT stuff works. Like I said, I've looked in there, but one of the people that is a lot more educated in this sort of thing than me, in that video, a guy called Goldfish on Games, actually did say, like, why go down that particular route? You may have already answered it already. Maybe it's a security thing.
But the answer, why go down the route?
Instead of having it like a server. Like I'm sure Sony could do a similar thing where I could then sell a digital license without it being on NFT.
We do have servers in a cloud as well. So again, that's why I say it's an extra thing. The game isn't existing in the blockchain. It's, and again, I guess another way, the other way I would answer that question, why go down that road? Just because we can give somebody a little extra digital thing. That's all. But again, if it goes away tomorrow, if blockchains explode and go the way of the dinosaur, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. Our system wasn't built around the blockchain. Our system uses the blockchain to deliver another layer of security and to deliver a few cool digital items for people who care.
Sure. Okay, so I'm going to bring up the RFID scanner thing in a minute, but whilst we're talking about NFTs, Vitas Varnas, one of the supporters, actually says, he asked this question, I'll read it exactly how he's written it. There's been a lot of concerns in regards to the large amount of carbon emissions produced by NFTs and the blockchain, with some projects seeking environmentally friendly alternatives, like having their NFTs produced on a sidechain/private server. Are the Amico NFTs minted on a sidechain? And if not, any more environmental friendly initiatives being considered besides the recyclable packaging?
So the information about blockchain, NFTs, bad for the environment, that's last year's news. I would recommend anyone who is up to date on this stuff, that's the initial stuff, like Ethereum 1.0 or whatever. All that stuff, that's old data, old news, old rumors. All of the new stuff that's being done is not being done the way it was before. So I would recommend folks to just do a search for that and kind of get the most up-to-date information. Because that is something that we've heard a lot is, oh, these are, blockchain, bad for the environment. The way we're doing it, it is not. 100%, I'll say that.
Okay, I mean, it gets Ethereum is something that was brought up. What form of blockchain does it exist upon? Is it Ethereum?
Yeah, it's something that we're not really at liberty to talk about right now.
Sure.
Not because we don't have it worked out, but because of other business things that are and other business things that are happening in a potentially positive direction. So we're not at liberty to discuss how we're doing that right now. I know that's not the answer that people want to hear, but I'm just being honest.
No, it's fair enough. Yeah, I'm sure on the lead up to every major console, no comment on the odd thing is not a bad thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. These things are there for a reason. So okay. And
again, unfortunately, I found out the wrong way and the hard way. Like, I could answer that question in a second. I know exactly what the answer is, but
I'm not going to tell you.
But if something changes, or if we end up doing something else that's even better, then people are going to look back. They're going to click that thing and say, "Look, he's a liar. He said one thing on this date and saying something different on the other." So unfortunately, that's why I don't want to answer that question.
No.
It's unfortunately because of the lashing.
You haters, look what you've done.
Well, hey, it's true. It's true. Unfortunately, it's true.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, no. And obviously, on the final one on the recyclable thing is there was a bit of confusion as to why it was even brought up about these being. Was it more the fact that the packaging is recyclable, or the fact that these are compostable? That was another weird one too. And it's funny, Dan. I'm sure you can appreciate this. One side was screaming at us because, how dare you use blockchain? Bad for the environment. Bad. And then when we say, hey, these are good for the boxes are good for the environment, it's not going to kill any dolphins or seals, people are like, that's so stupid. Why would you do that? So I was like, I get it.
You can't win. No, but yeah, it's funny because people are like thinking like, oh, these are just going to start to fall apart in 3 years because they're No, basically all that means is if someone threw them out if they got buried in a desert like the ET cartridges did.
Everything besides the coin, I assume.
Yeah, of course, right. The coin, exactly, right. But the that's why we were very specific to say packaging, because the coin obviously is not.
Okay. But yeah, I suppose the same goes for the cards as well.
The packaging's good for the environment, folks. The way it's made from recyclable material, it's not going to disintegrate in your hands in 3 weeks. Well, why would you care about the environment? Well, I mean, is that what you're asking me? So to clear that up, It's using recyclable material. It's using stuff that if it ever makes it into the ocean, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Again, you'd think people would be, heralding us for that. Oh, look, those guys are eco-conscious. But no, instead it's brought up as a negative and used against us.
I'm sure many a gamer collector out there, and yourself as well, Tommy, when you hear about all of these, we're using up too much plastic, and you sit in an office and you look around, you're like, oh dear.
Right.
I am surrounded wall to wall with Mega Drive games and Switch games and everything else. So I mean, I understand the message. Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. Before we go on to, I want to talk more about I want to try and squeeze some information about the upcoming Earthworm Jim and what have you. But let's just finish off on this RFID stuff and NFT stuff before we carry on. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Besides the extra security that's on there that you've just said about, on every card, HTTP, Intellivision.com, RFID, blah, 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 biplanes, and then it will say hashtag. Right? So if I've already gone to that website, it just says thank you for purchasing the game, what have you.
Now that's going to change in the future, but right now it just takes you there.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like they all direct to the same one, if I'm not mistaken.
The same
URL that it changes to. I sent it to someone earlier.
It takes you to the main page, I think, of our site.
Yeah, it takes you to a website that says thank you. Box dash edition dash thank dash you. Anyway,
right. We're redirecting that right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now, with it just saying hashtag, when you tap it, is it not just an RFID reader, but it's also an RFID writer? Will it actually change the URL?
I'm not at liberty to discuss because I would need to talk to my security guys to know whether or not I should answer that question.
Okay. No, that's fair enough. It just something came to me. I'm like, hang on, if they've all got the exact same URL, surely when you tap it, it must change that URL to make it unique to that game. To that one person. Sorry, that one person.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable answering that one without talking to my security guy first.
No, it's completely fair enough. Like I say, this is something that people I've had a couple of people have been asking different questions around that, and I think I've tried to mix it together to ask that one question. I think I've got that in there. One thing I was surprised about is because a lot of people are comparing this quite funnily to the similarly named Amiibos, and Amiibos in the bottom. Of course,
there's a whole black market for Amiibos.
Oh my god, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What they're doing. And people need to maybe look into this as well also, is that the RFID, or also called NFCs, not to be confused with NFTs, but the RFID technology that is used in the Amiibo is different from ours. I'll say that as well too.
But the funny thing about that is the fact that I don't know if you've got any Amiibos, but the Amiibos seem to have more security on the packaging, because you cannot take, and I haven't got an Amiibo case to hand, but you can't take an Amiibo case, put it on your Wii U or your Switch or whatever it may be, because there's something underneath the Amiibo, like this little bit of metal or something.
Yeah, no, it's a little metal thing, yeah.
But
we could have put those in ours as well, but we kind of didn't need to. Because of the system. I have one right here, in fact. This was one of the demos, so that and it wouldn't be that color, but it was the demos that we were given. And when you put it underneath, so you put that in the card, you can't read it. We could do that. We decided not to because of the way we're doing stuff, we didn't need to.
Okay. No. Okay. That's fair enough. But
I think that's important to. I think what I said though is important to repeat for those out there. Let me again state the RFID. The way that RFID is being used in Amiibos is different Because what the Amiibos and that Skylanders and stuff, what was that, 10 years ago? Maybe?
Probably. Yeah, it's probably
Right?
not far off.
Well, I got news for you, folks. Technology changes over 10 years. So
Right.
it gets better.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's cool. Like I say, I mean, yeah, the whole Amiibo thing gets brought up a lot. Like, you'll be able to buy these games off AliExpress and stuff. And yeah, the fact that you've mentioned in this call about the fact that there is extra security on the cards that the RFID readers aren't picking up, then that would, I suppose, eradicate any kind of concerns in that regard. So, okay. So let's actually talk a bit more about more positive stuff here now. Let's talk about the games.
It's all good. It's all good. Look, you know, I appreciate that people are so interested in knowing about all the stuff we're doing. I get it. And I just hope that people can also appreciate that, you know, that there's certain things that, you know, we've learned over time that is probably not great to talk about, you know, because it's, you know, unfortunately, you know, used in a drama or negative way, which is too bad, but.
No. I mean, and like I say, I understand. I mean, at its absolute simplest form, I mean, it's the same way. And I look back at the fact that when I was working at an IT company and they were trying to work out how they can convince their customers, or explain to their customers even, or potential customers, what the cloud is. And you know what? The cloud is the most simple thing in the world. It's a server that you don't have at your house. That, like a hard drive that you don't have at your house that just holds your data. It's, if you're using Facebook or MySpace or whatever, you're using cloud storage. It's as simple as that.
AWS. I mean, it's the biggest, the whole AWS. Most things run off of Amazon's servers.
But when people look into this and really, really, really dig deep into this, it can get confusing. But at its absolute simplest form, you tap this game, it downloads.
Tap it and it downloads. And if you want to get rid of it and you want to sell it, you can do it.
So I suppose have you done that in a way to actually, wow, I've got number 3. It's worth more than yours. Want to buy number 3? You've done it for that reason.
That's the cool part about the blockchain aspect of it.
Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, let's look at these games.
It'll mint you a new serial number in the order that you've first used it. Which is
so it's not going to be the order on, like, for instance, I've bought these before other people. If I don't tap these before other people, they're going to get ahead of me.
Correct. You could be number 2 because I'm going to be number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Okay, so awesome. We'll move on then to games a little bit. Don't worry, we'll come back to some other more hard-hitting questions as it goes on. But
the harder the better.
Yeah, so let's talk about the big ones that interest me, primarily Earthworm Jim. That was one of the big reasons I pre-ordered this thing. For people that don't know, I don't think I mentioned it earlier, I am a pre-order on Fig back in 2019, I think it was. And yeah, obviously I'm keeping my...
rub it in, Dan, rub it in. No.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the way I see it is...
2019. No, I get it.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that, definitely. Tell us something about Earthworm Jim first, though. Anything about Earthworm Jim. That was announced back in May of 2019, and since then, there's been about a 30-second clip, which I have been told isn't gameplay footage. It's a demonstration of what it will look like.
Well, I mean...
Is it gameplay footage? Tell me if I'm wrong.
I mean, it's gameplay footage. I mean, it's us playing the game, moving.
So that is actually someone with an Amico controller running left and right on the beach.
Yeah, that was run off of an Amico. Yeah, that was taken from it. Whether is the exact beach going to look exactly like that? No, I'm not going to. Again, let me preface it by saying, but yeah, no, that wasn't a cinematic. That was. Okay.
I was under the impression it was.
No. Now, I'm glad you asked that question. No, there was real-time lighting going on there. That was done in an engine, oddly enough, that was originally created for a Disney game. That Mike Dietz and Ed Scott, like that, the Earthworm Jim team, after Shiny. A lot of folks went to work with Doug at Neverhood, but then they started another company and they had a big contract with Disney. And of course, all these great, and by the way, also need to also make sure people know that run animation, that all that animation and stuff, that was all hand done as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah, it looks like it. Yeah.
Important to know that. I'm glad you asked that. So yeah, if people think that was just a cinematic, no,
I was under the impression it was. I was under the impression it was.
That was real gameplay footage, and again, real time lighting. It was all happening in real time.
So tell us something about it. What's going on? Because since then, since May of 2019, there's not been any.
Yeah. So I mean, I can tell you that a bulk of the design. So what's the hardest part of doing a video game? There's the ideas, there's the art, there's the ideas / design, there's the art, there's the controls, there's the audio. We have a bulk of the design stuff and the jokes and the humor. I'll give you a little insight, Dan, on Earthworm Jim, on how we created the original games. And I think it'll make more sense to folks out there in regards to the
original team, so you're going to be doing it the old school way, I assume.
Yeah, exactly. So it was 10 of us in a room, all trying to make each other laugh. We didn't have a game design document for Earthworm Jim 1 or Earthworm Jim 2. We just came up with jokes. Hey, wouldn't it be funny if at the beginning of the first level, a chicken got launched up in the air and it went "Bakak!" And then every level you saw a chicken, and then somebody said, well, chickens are funny and "Bakak!" is funny, but it's even more funny because chickens kind of fly. Let's do a cow. Oh my God, a cow. That would be hilarious because no one would ever expect to see a cow fly. So let's do that. Okay, that's funny. But okay, how are we going to launch a cow? Because they're heavy. It's not like Jim could just jump on a teeter-totter and have them go up. Well, what if Jim shot something heavy and then that came down and okay, cool. Well, what's heavy? Well, maybe should we make it cars are heavy, or a rocket, but why would there be a car hanging? How about a refrigerator, an old refrigerator? Refrigerators are funny because you wouldn't expect to see that. And okay, but why would there be an old refrigerator hanging around? Well, because we're in a junkyard. Boom. That's how we designed Junkyard Level 1 Earthworm Jim. We didn't sit down ahead of time and say, hey, a cool background would be a junkyard. We started with the joke and then created everything around the joke, right? So, so we have jokes and jokes and jokes and jokes of stuff, that are freaking hilarious and that utilize the uniqueness of the Amico controller. Yeah. There were so many things that we wanted to do back in the day that we never could because we had 3 buttons and an 8 directional D-pad. That was it. That was the Genesis, right? And Mega Drive. That's what we had. We were, but there were so many funny things that we wanted to do. And then add in the fact that now you can have multiplayers and everybody has a screen and there's a microphone and a speaker and a this and that. Now, Dan, I told you offline, one of the very funny things that we're putting in the game that can only be done on an Amico controller. Now, without saying what it is, because I swore you to secrecy, and no, you didn't have to sign an NDA, do you think that is unique and very funny? You can be honest.
The question time's turned around now, but yeah, it's very, very Earthworm Jim. I'll say that. Okay. It's very, very typical Earthworm Jim.
And so this is the type of things that we're doing. So from that regards, a lot of the fun stuff is done. Now, are we is the entire Earthworm Jim team actively working on art and animations and stuff? No, we're not. Because our biggest focus right now, because again, most of the Earthworm Jim team are employees of Intellivision or are contracted by Intellivision. And we're doing a bunch of other stuff for launch to make everything as cool and fun and funny as it could possibly be. So, are there people working? Is the entire team actively working on Earthworm Jim? No. Do we have the basis of everything, and is everything ready to hit the ground running after we launch? Yes. And I've always said from the beginning that Earthworm Jim is always going to be a game that comes out a year or so after we launch the console, right?
Sure. Okay.
And the reason we always said that is it's because that reason that we need to finish the console and everything associated with that, and the pack. Like right now, some of the teams are working on some of the games in our launch window to make those graphics as great as they can be, to add little effects, to change this little menu screen that we're not 100% happy with. So doing stuff like that, that's a big focus of where we're doing. I can't wait to show people the UI, the user interface.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was going to be asking. That is one of the biggest complaint, the fact that we haven't seen anything like that yet. And the system originally was going to be out by this point, and yet we still haven't seen any kind of UI.
Yeah, well, and the reason we have. I mean, we've shown versions of it along the way. We showed a version of it a year and a half ago. We showed a working version of it a year and a half ago. We showed a working version of it in January of this year. If you go back and look on our Astro Smash gameplay video, you'll see me messing around, in there. We've privately shown people in May and June when we've had certain Amico gatherings, and we do these live tests where we show it working, we show the effects, we show it downloading games, we show all that thing, to private groups of people. But those groups of people and YouTubers have said, I've seen it, it's great, it works, so again, don't take our silence as, oh my God, it's broken, it doesn't work, this and that, this and that. What the delays have afforded us to do is add a bunch of different stuff, to add, to touch up things, to make things even more alive or things like that. When you talk about UI and user interface, Sony updates theirs, Nintendo updates theirs, Microsoft updates theirs. Firmware is constantly being updated, right?
It is, yeah.
Oh, look, there's a new section in my PlayStation 4 menu now that wasn't there last month. Holy crap, right? So these types of things are always being worked on. Things are always added. So when people ask me, when's the UI going to be finished? When the console in 10 years from now, I guess, when the final version of the firmware is updated, right? So you're always adding to it. Now, is the UI in a place where it's usable? Sure, absolutely. It's been like that for a year. Why don't we want to show it? Well, because we see this in the games we show. People demand, you have to show us game. We want to see more in-depth gameplay video. We want to see more in-depth gameplay. We want to do this. We want to see that. We want to see that. So fair enough. I get it. I love that people are excited. So let's take Astro Smash as an example. So we show Astro Smash gameplay last January. It wasn't completed and final, right? It was like 90%, 95% done. But again, the last things when you work on game development is the polish, is all the little subtle things that just make it all come together. So now we have the game and it's finished, and we'd like to show that gameplay footage in a finished state. But you know what everyone says? You better not show Astro Smash. You already showed that a year ago. Blah, 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 blah. So again, we've stopped doing things because the people who are following it are demanding us to do things. We have a timeline. We still don't know exactly when the first hardware units are going to be out on the market.
It's someone, a question in the comments right here has actually said, like, have you got a rough idea when this thing is actually going to be released?
A rough idea? Sure. Q1 of 2022.
Okay.
And we hope to have good news and more information about that over the next 7 to 10 days. So sign up to our mailing list, because those people will be getting the information first. And I can say with confidence that I'll say over the next 2 weeks. How about that? Just to give myself some room. But I'll say over the next 2 weeks, we'll be giving information, updated information. And again, to us, it's good news. So that's something there.
Okay. So, obviously we've gone off a little bit there.
So we're going to be showing the UI
in a couple of weeks.
I will say again, I don't want to get myself into anything because
fair enough.
Something could change next week. Let's say by the end of the year, we'll and it's probably going to be much sooner than that. But let's say by the end of the year, we'll be doing a whole walkthrough video of the UI, how it works, the coolness of it, all that stuff.
Well, that's not long. I mean, it's November now, so
yeah, 6 weeks. Right.
So, I mean, you've jumped a bit forward there, and there's some of the later stuff I was going to ask you, but I know someone. Well, firstly, can you give a shout out to the Game Librarian? He seems to be one of your biggest fans in my chat right now. The Game Librarian.
I don't know who this person is, but I do see that he leaves very positive comments on our YouTube videos, and he's also, what's great about the Game Librarian is that I see, like, whenever there's some misinformation that kind of gets out there, he's so up to date on his information that I've also seen him on like live streams, Amico things, where he actually comes in and kindly corrects people to say, actually, that's not true. Here's this.
He definitely seems like a very big fan, without a doubt. So, but he's in there. He's asking questions.
Someday.
He's sometimes answering them before you answer
he knows
them.
A lot of great info, which is great.
And he hasn't asked for a shout out, but I was like, this man, he seems to be in a lot of the comments. Shout out to the
Game Librarian. I appreciate you being an informative person and willing to engage people and give out honest information. I appreciate that.
No, that's cool. Okay, so he has actually asked a question. When will the Founders Edition be released? But I'm assuming that's probably going to be the similar answer.
The Founders Editions will be released first. The people who ordered the Founders will get them first before anyone else. That I can guarantee. I do not have a date. I honestly, I don't have a date on that. I can tell you that. Well, see, I don't want to say that too if it doesn't happen, but yeah, I don't have an accurate date.
He asked that question.
We've made the mistake, Dan. We've made the mistake 3 times in the past where we're like, you know what? Boom. We think, or we know that we can hit that date. And then stuff in the world happens and it's like, oh crap. Okay, we didn't realize that stuff was going to happen. We shouldn't have said that date. But let's say the next date now, because we know for sure we'll be able to hit that if the world stays the same. And then the world changes again. And it's like, oh my God. Okay, if we knew now what we knew, if we knew now what we knew back then, no. What I'm trying to say is,
if we knew then what we knew now.
Thank you. Or if we knew now what we knew then, or what we didn't know then. That's what I'm trying to say. If we knew now what we didn't know then, we would have never have given a second date.
Right. Okay. No, that's fair enough. People are asking our phone gym questions, so I'm going to ask just a final one before we move away from that. But how's multiplayer going to work, if you can say?
Very uniquely, I will say this. And you can also expect to play for the first time ever, be able to choose the character you want to play.
So there's going to be more than one character in Earthworm Jim?
Potentially.
Okay.
Also, we use multiplayer in a way that's very funny and that utilizes multiple controllers, even if you're playing it by yourself.
Interesting. Okay. My mind's racing now. Now, let's move on from Earthworm Jim and let's talk about the successor to this bad boy.
Yes.
Echo the Dolphin. What's going on with that?
Yeah.
That's third party, am I not mistaken? These are people not in your team now. These are third party people.
Correct. So Ed Annunziata is the original creator and designer, producer of the game that you held in your hand.
Yes.
And his team is based, he's got some people in San Francisco, other people are over in Europe. And yeah, Ed's a good, very dear friend of mine for many years. So we started, and me and Ed, came together in person, and we kind of designed a game that is because the original Echo the Dolphin game, if you remember, I mean, it's a pretty hard game. It's
most people can't get out of the first pool of water.
Yeah. So we wanted to make it more fun and less difficult and challenging. Mm-hmm. We wanted to add in multiplayer when needed. And here's a perfect example. We're talking about Earthworm Jim. Here's, because people might be scratching their heads going, what the hell is he talking about? I'll give you an example of Echo the Dolphin and the way we've designed the game. So at Echo, instead of being Echo the Dolphin, in this game, and this is why we call it Dolphin Quest, is that you're actually a pod of dolphins or creatures. And so if you're playing it single player and on your controller, you can actually see all 4 of the different dolphins. And at any time, you can pick a dolphin by touching the controller, touching that dolphin, and you automatically take over that dolphin. So all of the dolphins, though, they have different skills and abilities. For example, one dolphin might have the best and strongest sonar to see things that, keys or invisible things or whatever. Another dolphin is very, very powerful, the most powerful. So only they might be able to bust a block open or to bust open the entranceway of a cave. Another, the baby dolphin, is the smallest dolphin, and maybe that dolphin can only fit into certain crevices that the others can't. And then the fourth dolphin maybe is the fastest dolphin, or can do a bigger jump, a faster jump up to get something in the air, right? And so even if you're playing it as a single player and you get to certain areas, you say, oh, you know what? I'm going to, boom, I'm choosing the baby dolphin now. And then you're playing that character, boom, and then he comes out and joins the pod again. Oh, now I need the other character to bust open the whatever, or the sonar to find the whatever. So you can see how even having multiple dolphins, but in single player mode. Now, what if a second player at any time turns on a controller? Well, guess what? They can play with you as well, too. They can pick any of the other 3 dolphins at any time. And what if a third player comes in? You don't have to restart the game. You don't have to just pick it up. Oh, boom. All 4 people now can be playing and saying, oh, who's the baby dolphin? Go in there. Go in. Now you're communicating. Now you're helping out. You're, this and that. So there's a perfect example of using our controller. And by the way, the disc, 64 positions, moving the dolphin around. Oh, it's so amazing. It's, again, you can't do it on a D-pad. And even an analog stick feels different because analog sticks are always pulling back to the center, right? They're always springing back to the center. When you have a disc and 64 positions and you're able to spin it around, it just feels special. It feels really unique. So that'll give you a little bit of an insight. Yes, it's going to be a simpler game, and it's going to be multiplayer, but single player as well. And it
sounds like the multiplayer is going to be like a co-op experience.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Okay. But we also have a versus mode as well. That's kind of like a high scoring kind of acrobat fun thing as well.
Fair enough. That's cool. No chance of getting that license from Sega, I assume.
We never said that.
I don't know. That's me thinking out loud.
Yeah. Let's say that things could potentially happen. Do we have the Echo license? No. Could we potentially get it someday before the game launches? Possibility.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
And the other big one that I'm really excited about, besides, some of the ones that are already I've got right here, Breakout. I am very excited about Breakout.
Yeah. So Breakout's being done by an incredible, absolutely phenomenal studio. They're called Choice Provisions. Alex over there and his team are unbelievable, so talented, so thinking outside the box, so high quality when it comes to the effects and the visuals, the audio, everything about those guys, absolutely phenomenal. Again, there's another game where we showed gameplay footage of it over a year ago, I think. And, there's, 60, 70 levels, 100 levels or whatever. And you see it all working and we have 2-player mode and all sorts of different stuff. That one will be a fun one, but that one is so good that, again, that won't be one that we want to do on launch. We want to make a really special spotlight when that comes out. We want to build that one up for a couple of weeks, putting out different trailers and different things. We want to really build that one up so that it gets a big fanfare when it's released.
I'm right in saying it's the people that made Bit Trip Beat.
Yes, Bit Trip.
Yeah,
yes,
and and that's why I'm excited. I absolutely adore that game, and obviously the classic arcade game Breakout. Mixing those two together, yes, please. So okay, so that's the games. But obviously you've got these 6 games that are coming out on the console when it is actually released. How many of those 6 are? Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, the 6 that are free. Sorry. How many of those 6 games are literally finished? Like they're on that hard drive. You say ready to.
5 of the 6 are 98.9% done. The reason I say that is because if games are just sitting there, right, and we feel like adding another level or something, then we're going to add another level, right? So or if we have extra time to work on it, you know what? Let's do a longer cinematic scene at the end when you win. So putting stuff. So that's why I say it's 98.
So they're ready now, but you might add more.
How many of the games are shippable at this moment? All of them, right?
Right.
But if we're still putting stuff in, I'd be called a liar if I said they were 100% done, right? They're not 100% done if you're still working on them. That's true.
Cool.
So it's a tough question to answer without people, trying to use my word for nefarious reasons.
Fair enough. And obviously you got these 8 games that are sitting here with me now. Evil Knievel, Dino Blaster, Finnegan Fox, Biplanes, Brain Jewel, Rigid Force Redux Enhanced, Moon Patrol, and Missile Command.
Yeah, only one of those isn't 100% done.
Only one isn't.
Only one is not. I'll tell you what it is too. It's Brain Duel because we're adding more a lot more things. We ended up changing the way the interface works with the controller. It's much cooler now. Yeah, that's the only one that's not 100% complete at this point.
And I know you had a pretty cool factoid about Brain Jewel. I'll let you.
Oh, the doctor. I don't want to mess up his name.
Kawashima.
How is this pronounced?
Kawashima.
Yeah, he's the guy who did Brain Age. The guy who did the problems for Brain Age is the same. And by the way, that was one of the biggest physical media sales in the world, was the original Brain Age for the DS. It sold, I think, 40 million units.
Yeah,
and
it sold big numbers.
When people like to make fun of us, they say, oh, why the hell did they do Brain Age? Or, oh, Brain Age I don't care about. Brain Age is going to suck. Brain Age is this and that. It's like, again, a lot of times people can only think within their own bubble, and I get that, and I respect that. But before you call us idiots, consider that we're not making the machine maybe exactly just for you.
So, my wife will adore Brain Jewel.
Perfect. There you go.
For my son.
Example.
I mean, my wife's a teaching assistant, so it's perfect for us.
There you go.
But yeah, not so much for me, as stated. So,
but your wife will be able to beat you in Brain Duel. I think.
That's why I'm never going to play against her. Definitely. So L Source on Twitter asks, which video game that you have worked on in the past would you like to see revived, remade, or ported onto this?
Well,
system?
I mean, the easy answer would be Earthworm Jim, but we're already doing that. That's a great question.
The answer is MDK, isn't it? Come on.
I was never a huge fan myself personally of MDK. I appreciate it. I think it's a cool game. But I like something like Global Gladiators or Aladdin would be cool, to do.
It's probably not going to happen, though, is it? Let's be honest. You're probably not going to get Aladdin on there.
I mean, to say that we haven't been talking to Disney for 3 years would be false information.
Ooh, interesting.
I mean, when the Aladdin remake happened last year, the person who did that was Mike Micah at Other Oceans, who are doing Night Stalker for us. They're doing a bunch of games, Cloudy Mountain. They're doing a series of games for us. They have a very good relationship with Disney. And in fact, the Earthworm Jim team, when we were designing Earthworm Jim, that's when we filmed all of those Aladdin behind the scenes stuff, was at that Earthworm Jim meeting.
The ones that are on that cartridge, on the collection. The ones that
are on that new cartridge. And so Other Oceans has a good relationship with Disney. We have a relationship with Disney, and television's always had a relationship with Disney, Mattel. We have a great relationship with Other Oceans. Aladdin, they got the code for that, was through me, and because Dave Perry had it sitting on his hard drive. So, so to say that, so we have a great relationship with all those folks. I'll leave it at that.
But your 10 Commandments, you wouldn't be able to put that on there anyway, based on the fact that you don't want to put games on there that are already released for another system. And obviously,
but if we were to, what I'm saying is, if we were to redo Aladdin, let's redraw all of the art, like make it even more sharp.
The same way you did with Finnegan Fox.
Add a multiplayer mode to it, add something on top of it. Let's do the music live, like with real instruments, as opposed to the FM synthesis. Do you see what I'm saying? So could we update it?
Just to emphasize people, like, this isn't happening. This is a really cool idea.
We're in Dream World right now.
This is a cool idea. But you give it the same treatment you have with something like Finnegan Fox, where that's a
perfect example.
It looks more hand drawn than it was originally with Fox and Forest.
Yeah.
Okay, and John, Tom Gentle on Twitter asks, is there any space for indie developers to support the platform?
Absolutely. If you go to Intellivision.com, go to our contact page, and there's a developer email address. I think it's developers@Intellivision.com. And send an email and say that you're interested. If you have examples of work you've already done, maybe you've done games on Steam or Switch or whatever, feel free to send us links of that as well too. And the other thing to know about Intellivision developers is that we don't charge people for the development kits, which is very unique because Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo do for the most part.
Yep.
So we don't charge our developers for that. We also, for the most part, if they need it, we pay the developers up front or along the way, along the process, if they want it, which again is very different because mostly independent developers, they have to do a Kickstarter or Indiegogo campaign in order to raise money, or they're just doing it for free by themselves or whatever. So, in essence, we become partners. And here's another great news. We've created this internal development team at Intellivision to give all of the indie developers out there access to the Earthworm Jim team, to the people who created the hardware, to the engineers who can help optimize your code, to the audio department, the art director. You want the art director from Earthworm Jim to help you with your art? That's what Intellivision can supply you. Marketing, PR, all of these extra added stuff that, again, I don't think we get enough credit for. There's just silly rumors out there to say, Intellivision takes 50% of independent developers' royalties. That's mean. That's scammy. That is completely untrue, given the fact of all of the other stuff that comes along, with all of the things we do. And by the way, there is no set percentage. Every single game we do, every project we do, every indie developer that we sign, it's different and it's created around their needs. Do they want money up front, or do they want more percentage in the back end? Do they want us to provide the audio and some of the art and some of the 3D models and some optimization, or are they going to handle all that? A company like Choice Provisions, for example, they don't need much of anything, right? Because they have all these incredible people. But maybe some indie developers want audio that I will personally do myself on the weekends. It's been said, I know.
Someone's actually said, how far will you be willing to ship the dev kits?
How far?
Yeah.
I mean, we have a developer in India working with us right now. We have developers in Poland and Greece and all over Germany. So that doesn't matter where you're based. India is probably the one that was the hardest to get to because they have all these weird import taxes and things. And
Even McLeod asks, is there any major third parties involved?
Major third parties, meaning publishers?
third party developers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would consider Choice Provisions, Other Oceans, Stainless Games, a few we can't announce yet, but they're big. But yeah, I would consider all of those major third-party developers for sure.
Sweet. Right. Okay.
Award-winning. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So on to the harder stuff. How are you? Because one of your 10 commandments is the fact that you're only able to offer a game. You're only going to offer out games that are 7 out of 10 or above.
Right. So here's the thing that people should know about the 10 commandments. It was kind of tongue in cheek.
Okay.
You know, certain commandments are made to be broken. It doesn't mean you're going to hell. if you break a commandment, right? So again, I think it's another example of, he said this 3 years ago and he's a liar if he goes back, So what's the 7 out of 10 thing? What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, more interesting, like, who is judging that to be a 7 out of 10 game?
The Earthworm Jim team.
Right. Okay.
The internal folks, our game testers, our quality assurance people, our internal team, folks, call it in television. In television and all of the 600 years of video game experience that we have throughout our company, those people were deciding.
The example that I see get given often is Cornhole. Now, Cornhole is probably going to be the best Cornhole game ever made, right? It'll be fine.
I would go on record and say that. Yes, I feel comfortable saying that.
But a lot of reviewers, I would say the vast majority of reviewers, I think the way people are using that as an example is the fact that if we came with just Wii Bowling, that wouldn't be a 7 out of 10 game, but because it comes as a whole package, that makes it a quality packing game. Whereas Cornhole, it seems like a very one-dimensional game. As good as it may be.
I'd push back a couple ways. First of all, I would say that Wii Bowling was not a complete game. You could only bowl 3.
No, but what I'm saying is you didn't just have Wii Bowling. You had Wii Bowling, you had Wii Tennis,
right.
You had Wii...
Right, because they were little tiny slices, right?
Yeah, if I bought Monkey Ball and the only thing on there was Monkey Bowling, I would like it, but I'd be a bit like, oh, come on, where's the rest of the game? Correct.
So the Cornhole game is very, very in-depth. There's, I think 40 different countries that you go to. Each there's 120 different places to unlock, and they get harder and harder and harder. There's hundreds of different bags that you can collect and boards that you can collect. There's multiple different ways to play against a computer, against a human person, a computer on your team playing 2 humans, or a human versus 2 computers, whatever, lots of different ways. We have arcade mode, we have tournament modes, we have, solo mode or whatever. So there's lots of different ways to play the game, and it's super easy and super fun to understand. So although a hardcore gamer might say, you know what, I think Cornhole sucks and I think it's a 2. Happy for you.
Yeah.
But non-gaming grandma is going to think it's a 10.
So it's going to be a 7 out of 10 to someone, and that'll be across the board.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's all that meant. Sure.
Okay. Fair enough. I know, I know the other one that got brought up as well is, where is it?
And by the way, Dan, really quick on that, the reason we kind of put that as a commandment and made up, an arbitrary 7 out of 10, what we were really saying there is that we're not going to have stupid shovelware crap, because that's what killed the Wii, right? There was so much, well, not that it killed it, never, you know what I mean, but
it made all the good stuff get buried.
Yes, correct. Is that we're about quality, not quantity. That's kind of what we're saying in there. Now, again, your hardcore gamers are going to push back against that and say, oh, Tommy thinks that Cornhole is quality. And again, maybe to you it's not, but keep in mind that maybe you're not our target audience for Cornhole.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I mean, like I say, Brain Jewel, I'm not the target audience, but I'm sure there are people out there that are.
No, well, Candy Crush. A million hardcore gamers will hate Candy Crush, say it sucks, it's not in depth, how dare they? I would never give Candy Crush a 3 out of 10. Yet, makes billions of dollars. Yet, people, it's their favorite game ever. Yet, more people play hours and hundreds and thousands of hours of that game than they do Call of Duty or whatever, whatever, insert
It's
hardcore
true. My auntie will tell me that she's not a gamer but plays more games than me because of Candy Crush.
She plays exactly. So again, and it's going back to what I was saying before. I think sometimes people get hung up in their own little bubbles, and again, that's fine. I appreciate and respect it, but also maybe those folks can maybe appreciate and respect that although you might not like Cornhole or Brain Duel or whatever, doesn't mean that somebody else will. And we've done enough focus testing to know what people like and what they don't like. And
a Talky teacher, the Ashen Knight, has been throughout this whole been listening in throughout this whole thing, so thank you to that. He actually says, in that case, and I'm going to add to it, without saying everyone, who is Amico's target audience?
Who's our target audience? Our target audience is your family. It's family and friends who, like when we were growing up, Dan, we used to play video games together, in a room, not me and you specifically, but GoldenEye on the N64, Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo, Choo Choo Rockets on the Dreamcast, whatever your jam was, Halo LAN parties, couch co-op, and in television, playing in television hockey or whatever, or, playing against each other, friends playing together, friends and family. And yes, we're not saying that doesn't exist. Yeah, you can play games on the Switch that are co-op and PlayStation. Yeah, we've never said ever that those games don't exist. What we said is that those kind of fun in-person types of games, that is our main focus. Simple, easy to pick up and play games. 102 million people bought the Nintendo Wii. It was the third biggest selling home console of all time when it came out. My mom bought a Wii, right? My mom didn't buy a Switch, but at the time she bought a Wii, right? And so looking at that audience, who's our audience? It's the 3 billion people that play mobile games.
I mean, obviously, the big argument there, and it's one that gets brought up a lot, is the fact that the reason the Wii U wasn't able to capture the besides stupid naming, what have you, wasn't able to capture the magic of the Wii, is by the time everyone had bought the Wii, realised they're only ever going to play Wii bowling. I mean, I have literally been to old people's houses and seen a Wii underneath the telly, as in like care homes. Is because now everyone has moved. Everyone has got a mobile phone. Everyone has got one of these things.
Right, but you can't play together. You couldn't play a cornhole game. The 4 people in your household, you can download cornhole all day. Cornhole games all day long on that. But you can't play together. You can't play on teams. You can't say, "Oh, Dad, you missed it. Oh, you knocked me off. You son of a gun." That's the big differentiating factor in what we're doing, which doesn't exist in mobile. The problem with mobile is that it's very solitary. It's your auntie just staring into a screen. All the educational games, all the edutainment games for young kids. Parents are like freaking out because their kids are spending 8 hours a day on a tablet because all of those games are single player, kids turning into zombies in their room, taking it in their room. We're bringing video games back into the living room, right? And for everybody to sit on a couch and play together like the Wii did. Now, I'll also say this as a counter to your Wii example, is that the Wii, Nintendo didn't really focus too much on that casual market. Yeah, they came out with Wii Sports, and then they did, Resort, which was great. The Wii Fit stuff, people could argue that was something that was simple.
I'd say that's more single, isn't it? I suppose Wii Fit.
But Metroid Prime, Pokemon, Mario, Zelda, Smash Brothers, those were the big titles that, that Nintendo first party was working on, with the Wii as well too. And then we talk about all the shovelware, all of the other game publishers. What had happened is no one thought Wii was going to be big before it came out, right? And so all of the big publishers, the Ubisofts, the EAs, the Activisions, the THQs, all those big folks, look, let's be honest. There's A team developers, there's B team developers, there's the third string, and then, and beyond. Well, all of the best developers and internal developers, they were all doing stuff for PlayStation and Xbox and PC. Let's be honest, right? And then when the Wii came out, those teams were working on that. And so it's like the teams that maybe didn't have, that maybe weren't the best of the best started doing games. The game publishers are like, well, okay, let's try to throw this game on here, or let's just do a port of this.
Well, that's definitely happening with the Switch as well, isn't it? Yeah.
And even the game tools now are a lot better than they were for the Wii 15 years ago,
okay.
Right? You have Unity, you have the Unreal Engine. So small teams can actually make really awesome quality games now independently and throw those up on Steam and on Switch. Mm-hmm. But back in the Wii days, those tools didn't exist. You had to be a part of the program to create the motion control games. And again, you just saw a lot. You had to be a video game publisher in order to really, put out a video game on the Wii. It was a different time, a different market. And so you got a lot of crap shovelware. So you say, well, parents only, like my mom, only went to play Wii bowling. Yeah, because there wasn't a AAA team working on quality stuff for my mom. Those quality teams were doing Zelda. They were doing Pokemon. They were doing Pikmin. They were doing Mario. They were doing other ports of stuff. And, not really coming out. So in television, the difference between what we're doing out in television is we want all of our games to have that fun factor that Wii Sports did. That's our focus, is to make every game like that, meaning simple, easy, pick up and play. Focus on the gameplay, not on the graphics, not on 150 in-depth levels or whatever,
Mm-hmm. No, okay, yeah.
And hey, it's up to us to do it, to do it or not. If we can't accomplish that, then we're going to fail. I'll be the first one to admit it.
Yeah, you need. It's definitely going to be tough to make a lot of Wii Sport calibers.
Tough, Dan. Let me tell you, it's funny because people say, "Oh, he's so arrogant." Look, I'm hopeful and I'm confident, but having a positive mental attitude is different from being arrogant, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I was so arrogant, I wouldn't be talking to small YouTuber channels or big YouTubers like yourself. I'd be, we only talk to people with over 1 million subscribers. Yeah. I know, and our entire team at Intellivision, make no mistake, we're not over here drinking our own Kool-Aid. We know, even before COVID, let's take COVID out of it for a second. We know that they call it hardware for a reason, because it's hard. We know that in a normal world, doing something like this and coming out with a product with all of the features and things that we're doing, mm-hmm. we know is a huge, impossible uphill battle. But we're going to try to get to the top. We're doing everything in our power to get to the top. That's before all this crap went down. Then COVID, component crisis, manufacturing, inflation, throwing prices like crazy, blah, blah, shipping, logistics. Dan, if Could we have picked a worse time in the history of the world to want to come out with a product like ours that's affordable, that's easy, I mean, are you kidding me? So what was already a massively difficult challenge is now times 100 because of all this other crap that we had no idea of and expecting. Dan, the fact that we're still around is a miracle, quite frankly. Hundreds of thousands of revenue generating companies went out of business over the last year.
Oh, they did, yeah. There's no doubt, alone. And it's the one thing with me creating like kick scammer stories. It's as a content,
it's gotta be tough for you sometimes.
It's very tough because I can't.
Giving their all.
Yeah, everyone that's making one of these Kickstarters and different types of crowdfunding projects and whatever else.
They probably started out with good intentions.
Absolutely, but the excuse of we can't do anything because of COVID is just something that you cannot argue. It's happening across the board. And
look, I don't want to use it as an excuse either. Yes, we've done things wrong. We're learning as we go. We're not Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony. I'll keep coming back and saying
you still can't get Sony PlayStation 5s easy, so that explains it.
They have tens of billions of dollars in the bank. When Microsoft had the red ring of death, they could spend money and take care of the problem. If something like that happened to us, we're out of business. I got news for you, So yeah, it's been extremely challenging. And I would only ask the people out there, anyone listening to this, to maybe keep all of this in mind. If you want to go negative hate on us, maybe cut us a little slack, maybe cut us a little break to say, you know what they're doing is really, really difficult and challenging. You know what? Maybe it's not for me, but I wish them luck.
Yep, and some of the people that actually gave their opinions on the cases, and especially Grizzly, was that person. So that's good. Now, I want this thing to come out, and I want it to be a success. But let's say it doesn't. Let's say it comes out, and whatever reason, it's either not a success, it doesn't work, whatever happens.
Yeah.
You've got. I keep coming back to those 10 Commandments, but I know one of the things you said you wanted was when games like this come out. The reason it's coming out on your system is because you've made it unique for your system, and it's the same with Evil Knievel and I believe Rigid Force, Redux, and probably others as well. Does it work the other way? Let's say the system doesn't work and it completely dies a death for whatever reason. Can these developers who's this? Can Bonus Level Entertainment release the game on Steam, but take away a level or add a level because it's now they're contracted to make it unique for you?
No, not for Finnegan Fox. They couldn't.
Due to contract reasons.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that, that we wouldn't do that with them or something. I don't know. I mean, I hate to get into speculation stuff like that because then people say, people take it the wrong way. So
basically what I'm saying is these games are coming to your system, but that isn't going to be the end of these games. Are these games able to go out on other systems if they're different?
Sure. Yeah. So some of them.
Yeah, some of the ones that aren't, I suppose, like primary exclusive ones that you guys are making.
Yeah, well, like Rigid Force Redux is already out on everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Our version is different.
So if the people behind, I need to find one that's a third-party game, but something like Breakout,
Moon Patrol.
Yeah, or Breakout.
Breakout. That can only come out on Amico. That would only come out on Amico. Whether Amico fails or succeeds, if we go out of business, no, Choice Provisions or Atari cannot put that game out on another system unless they want to pay us for it.
So Moon Patrol, that would again, would that be able to go?
Same scenario.
Okay.
Doom Patrol is owned by IREM. It's only being made for Amico. We control, the licensor controls the license, the developer, but there's a perfect example where
I didn't realize it was an IRM game. Sorry.
We've made the game with the developer,
Awesome. And so here's a hard question for you. Why would you, Tommy, limit yourself to having these games to be only what are essentially PG games? Why wouldn't you allow for games to be more adult orientated?
Yeah, because our target audience is the family market, and we've seen, and we need to be unique as well. And that's why people say, oh, why don't you just allow direct ports on your system? Well, because everybody does that. And we need to be unique. So if you knew that you could have a video game system like the Playdate, where every single game on there was only unique to the Playdate, that's a plus for the Playdate, right? And so for us, not allowing violent games, and again, a hardcore gamer may not quite understand what I'm about to say, because in their world, and it's fine, but for middle America mom, for Walmart shopper, flyover states, whatever, conservative Christian, whatever label you want to put on people, not having that it's a concern with parents. If you're a parent who has a 7 or 8 year old and you don't mind them blowing the heads off of people in Call of Duty, fine, whatever. It's you're the parent, you can make whatever rules you want. But if you think other parents aren't concerned about that type of stuff, then I'll push back on you and say you're absolutely out of your element and you're wrong.
Yeah, no, and they are wrong. I had to go through all of the details. My son's discovered Roblox, unfortunately, and the amount of settings I had to go through to make sure that he couldn't get into the Squid Game rooms and all that sort of stuff. He's a 6-year-old kid, for people interested.
And that is a perfect example, Dan. You are somebody who is a hardcore gamer. If you don't believe me, look behind you. You're a person who knows technology. You are smart enough to have to go through, and again, Roblox is a game for kids. You had to go through all that stuff. And you also have, oh crap, who's he going to talk to online?
Yeah, it's all been turned off.
Right? So you are a concerned parent. Now imagine middle America mom who's not a hardcore gamer, who doesn't know about going into here and there they know nothing about any of this stuff. What if we created a console for them where they didn't have to worry about it? And you say, oh, well, why don't you just have it set parental controls? Nope. What if you didn't have to worry about it?
I think that's the big thing, because even though every kid at my wife's school wants a Switch, I mean, it might not be aimed at kids, but, kids definitely want to get hold of a Switch.
Sure.
But I've got behind me Metroid Dread, which is, I believe, a 15. Other games that are more adult orientated. I mean, there are some, like you say, we talked about it before, there are some like pornographic games. I'm not saying put those on there.
There is.
But like...
you said it, I didn't.
Yeah, there are. I've made videos on like Nintendo Switch games made for perverts. I'm not talking about those games. But what I'm talking about is a game where... Was
that really the name of the video?
That generally was the name of the video, yeah. It was a 2-part video, so I made that.
I got to look that one up.
And it got...
Careful, though. People are going to call you a hater for that.
No, I definitely got that from it. But even down to like, I've got like fun zombie games where you might see a little bit of blood. Like it's comedic blood. We're talking comic book style, like it's
by the way, that's fine on our system too.
But I mean, I still think
they call it comedy, cartoon violence. It's called.
surely, I mean, even on a download or as a physical product, like having an 18 sticker on there, big fat one, or even when you download, by the way, this is an 18 rated game, do not download this for your kid.
Right.
You've taken that ability away. You can only ever have games.
I don't want that. We don't want that because think of it this way. When you go into Disneyland, when people take their kids to Disneyland or Disney World, they don't have to worry about it. They know that everything in there, there's not going to be a strip joint around the corner. There's not going to be, somebody behind a bar swearing at, that their kids could hear or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's just, it makes us unique. It's a talking point. And again, Dan, I got to say, we've done research, not with tens, not with hundreds, but thousands of people. And you know what's at the top of their list about why they want an Amico is because we don't have violent games on the system.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That is the number one thing. And you know what the bottom thing is? How much they have to pay for it. They don't care. That's the lowest thing. Now, when you talk to a gamer, isn't it interesting that that's exactly reversed? The number one thing for them is, Amico's too expensive, screw you guys. And how come you don't have violent games on the system, right? And so again, it's interesting. That's our market. So if folks want to get angry at us because we don't allow that type of stuff, that's fine. But
I'm someone that's putting that question forward.
You have every other platform out there that gives it to you.
I'm not angry. It's more for me, like, why would you limit yourself to?
I wasn't saying you.
No. But I'm the person that's brought that game forward. I look at there's a company called Mega Cat Studios. They make these are the sort of people that would make games for your system, in my opinion. And they've made essentially a Punch-Out game here, but all of the characters are evil characters. Now, I'm not sure if that would ever go over PG, but I suppose in some parents' eyes it probably would. And I feel like you would limit yourself.
If you say you have a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, right?
6 and 3.
Okay, so
6 and 4.
Would
sorry.
you give the 4-year-old that game?
I wouldn't. I'd probably let the 6-year-old. I probably would let the 6-year-old. I mean, it's basic, but they're a little bit spooky, the faces and all that sort of stuff. And therefore, I'm starting to think like, okay, you can't have this game on your system.
Yeah, no, that would be a fair comment. Now, could we change some of the things so that they look less spooky? I'll give you a perfect example because you know the game. So Fox and Forests. I don't know if you beat the game or not, but the big witch at the end and some of the characters were...
Yeah, I do remember that.
Okay, so some of the characters were very evil and scary looking, right? We actually took a little bit of that out. We made them more cartoony. Instead of sharp teeth that the witch had, we made her more goofy teeth. She's missing teeth and they were squared off, and she looks more dopey than she does evil, right? Yeah. And we made a conscious effort to do that.
It sounds to me like you're going down the 16 or even the 8-bit route of what Nintendo were like compared to what Sega were like. In DuckTales you've got RIP instead of a crucifix, or you'll have famously in Mortal Kombat the blood is grey. I think it's supposed to represent sweat,
green or something.
Yeah, that sort of thing. I think that's fair to compare us to Nintendo of the 80s and 90s. Yeah. I mean, but they are also the company that said they would never release Night Trap, and I've got that on the Switch behind me. So.
Howard Lincoln famously said that in a government hearing.
Yeah, you'll never see that on a Nintendo system. There it is. Oh, there it is down there. Okay, cool. Okay, no, that's fair enough. It's one of those things that I think's worth bringing up and hearing a bit more information on. And you mentioned the price there, about how some more hardcore gamery people are a bit upset about the price. So let's talk about that. I mean, I personally see it that there's enough on this system gameplay wise that would make me want to put that money down.
And Dan, also knowing, caveat in there as well, let's assume that you played it and you love it. Mm-hmm. And you know that your family, that you're going to be playing all the time with your family, maybe once or twice a week. And your wife is playing with your 6-year-old and you're playing with and everybody's having fun. Is that worth $250?
I think it is. Sorry about that, everyone. Jump cut for the edit, and they can see what happened there. We lost internet. We're back again. So yeah, this is something a system that I would personally put the money down. And I know that sounds like it's a rehearsed thing or whatever else, but like I say, I pre-ordered this thing well before I ever spoke to Tommy. And the reason why is because I always remember several times playing games on my Wii U, and I'm talking like just one individual game in something like Nintendo Land. I can't remember what the game was, but like essentially Chase Tag, and it was the most fun. Like my cousin, who's not a gamer, bought a Wii U off the back of that one game, and we play it every year when he comes around and has a barbecue. To this day, the Switch is out; it's a better system, but we still play that one Nintendo Land game. It's just like those.
And that's the thing is, the value is going to be for everyone, right? It's like, would you pay 250 quid, knowing that your family will all be playing Amico together a couple times a week, and your wife's laughing and your kids are laughing, and your 6-year-old is beating you in certain games, and your mom and mom and dad come over, your wife is beating you and in a game. And so, is that, knowing if that were to happen, would that be worth 250 quid to you?
Like for me, it is. For me, it is. I'm willing to put the money down. And again,
that might not be. If you're a single person who, this sounds cruel. If you're a single person that doesn't have any friends and lives in your mom's basement, no, I don't want to say that. But if you're somebody who doesn't like being around other people and who doesn't like co-op, I would still say, look, every single game has a single player as well. Don't dismiss us yet just because of that. But hey, if you play it and you don't like it, then yeah, look, anything is worth, something is worth what people are willing to pay for it. Mm-hmm. And people are willing to pay 250 quid for an Amico because, again, we know this. People have pre-ordered it already, like yourself. So, it's going to be up to us, though, to make sure that the marketing out there is not just to retro gamers or whatever, how we market to the families, to the non-gamers, to the casual gamers who don't watch YouTube, who don't have Twitter accounts, who might not even be on Facebook or Instagram. Getting to those people, that's on us. If we can do that successfully, we feel we have a huge hit on our hands.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. So this system is £250 or $300 when it comes out, or $299. And originally it was touted to be a $149 to $179 thing back in October of 2018 when it was first revealed. Since then, it was supposed to be released in October of 2020. Then it got pushed back to April 2021. Then from April 2021, it got pushed back to October 2021. And now we're sitting at either the end of this year or early next year. So you've got 3 delays and a price change that's almost, depending on which area you look at there, but it's almost doubled.
Well, these changes. Let me correct some of that info. You got all the dates correct. The price of the machine is $249 US. So
okay,
it's $249 for the standard white and black editions. For the special editions, where we do different metallic paints and different finishes and things like that, which are more expensive to make. For those 3 special editions, GTO Red, Galaxy Purple, and the Vintage Wood Grain, those are $279, right? And then at GameStop, there's a special bundle, which includes a $25 gift card.
Right.
So $25 more worth of games. that's selling for $299. So I just wanted to.
So that's what, a $25 gift card on top of the
on top of the $279.
Off the top of that one, right? Okay.
So you're actually getting a deal.
So yeah,
right?
you're essentially saving a $5 there, aren't you? $5.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so first I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay. So it's not exactly double, but it's added on about an extra 100.
Right. So the other thing, and here's an early mistake we made, and we wish we could take it back. When we were first announcing the console, a lot of people kept asking us, well, what's the price range going to be? Are you going to be like a $400 PlayStation? Or are you going to be a $79, Retro Pi or flashback unit, or mini, like the SNES Mini, right? You have to tell us. You have to give us a range. Okay, well, the answer to that question back then and still is now is that we kind of want to be in between those things, right? Yeah. We're not a $99 machine.
I got to say, I was surprised at the initial price, considering it comes with the two controllers. I mean, the controllers, I imagine, are really expensive.
Well, and the other thing is, too, at that time in our design, we did not have the capacitive touchscreens. We had resistive touchscreens that we thought that we were designing the system around, because those were much cheaper, right? Mm-hmm. And so when we came out with that, we didn't have a unit finished at all. We had stuff on drawing boards. So we said, you know what? We would like, and again, go look on the videos and everything, price subject to change. Right. But we said on there, look, we would like to target our target range, 149 to 179. That would be the target range that we would like to be in. We never came out and said the suggested manufacturer retail price is this, and then we changed it. We never did that. We just gave a range of where we thought we wanted to be that we thought would be really cool. Then as we started making the machine, we're like, oh my gosh, the capacitive touchscreens are so much better than the resistive touchscreens, but it's going to add another $25 in cost to the machine overall. Now I got to balance and say, do we want to put out something that's inferior, or do we want to put out just to save money and to satisfy a press release we did 3 years ago? Mm-hmm. Or do we want to come out with the best quality product we can? The answer was quality every time. Quality, 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 quality. Then when the component crisis hits, now we got a whole different issue, right? So what we thought we could, and by the way, it's not just us, it's everyone. It's every small company that's trying to put out a product right now. The normal inflation for electronic products is 30%. That's the average across the board, 30%. In every single thing that you buy this Christmas, it's going to be 30. The average is 30% higher for electronic stuff. So again, I hope people can look at the overall picture, cut us a little slack. We're a small company. We're a pre-revenue startup company that does not have $1 billion in the bank like the rest. Can Microsoft and Sony, can they spend their way out of? We all know Sony loses between $100 and $200 every time they make a PlayStation 5. They are losing that money on their hardware. They're able to do that because they have billions of dollars in the bank, and they know that their software, which sells anywhere from 50, 60, 70 to $100, plus loot boxes, plus in-app purchases, plus payable DLC, plus $15 a month for online play, whatever, plus. They know that they can sell it at $200 loss. Good for them. I love Sony. It's my favorite non-Amico console. Of course I'm going to say that. But again, it's apples and oranges, folks, right? So yes, we're trying to put out something here that is unique, that's difficult, that's very different. We have a much different approach to everything. So in one breath, people are trying to hold us accountable for certain things because Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo do it that way. But then in the other breath, they don't cut us any slack when it's difficult in this modern day.
I mean, at the same time, I mean, it is a system. I mean, you've had like the whole worldwide crisis and stuff, but I mean, there's a system that's had 3 delays and a pretty big price hike. Yep. So, I mean, at the same time, you can understand where people are coming from.
I 100% understand. 100% understand. I'm not saying the people who think that or believe that should in any way not think or believe that. Or I'm also not going to sit here and say those aren't negative marks against us. They are.
Yep.
And again, if I had to do it all over, we would have never have given that price range. Mm-hmm. That is a mistake, 100% on us, and we are to blame. We should have never have done that. And again, if we know now what we didn't know then, we should have never given a second date.
Absolutely.
But we didn't know. We didn't know the economy was going to shut down. We didn't know that California was going to go into another shutdown from November to the end of January. We didn't know that, 2 years ago that there was going to be this massive component crisis. We didn't know 6 months ago that ships were going to be backed up in Long Beach 80 deep, right? And that there's going to be a trucking massive trucking breakdown in America, and the unions. And there's so many different problems right now in manufacturing and shipping that we had no idea about when we said, hey, April, hey, October. Again, but we can't blame anyone for looking at us and going, you missed 3 times, and what you said 3 years ago is now more expensive. Mm-hmm. Fine. We'll take the heat. We'll take the heat. That's 100% our fault. But again, I hope people can at least understand why that happened and not hate us for it.
No, that's fine. I think you definitely explained yourself there. I haven't got too many more questions. This has gone on a fair while, but firstly, people in the chat are asking. It was actually the game librarian, and I'm going to say it's wrong. A Talky teacher, the Ashen Knight, also says, "Do you know when the Boston event's going to be happening?"
Yes, I do.
Do you want to say?
In November. Soon.
So this month?
Oh yeah. Within a couple of weeks.
Okay, awesome.
Yep. I'll go on record. I'll say middle of November.
Okay, cool.
And for those, we're going to be letting people know when it is. I think next week.
Oh, okay, next week.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I mean, so people say, well, why do you hide that? Why do you hide that? I'll be very honest with you. Again, there is a group of people who wake up every single day trying to destroy Intellivision. And whenever we announce where our things are at, these people call and email, and there's bomb threats. People say they're going to show up with guns. People will call these places and say that we're white supremacists. that we're scamming people out of money, et cetera, et cetera. They'll do everything in their power to try to get these events canceled. And it's gotten to a point now that that we're even afraid of our safety, and that we have to hire security now at these places because people say they're going to show up and shoot me. Like, literally, it's gotten that ridiculous, Dan, and it's awful. And I'm not using that as an excuse. People say, "Oh, well, why don't you show receipts? Why don't you blah blah blah?" Look, I'll show you offline, Dan. I'll show you offline at all, but I'm not going to give attention to people like that. You know, and again, you know, there's a whole Reddit page, an Amico, anti-Amico hate Reddit.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
That you can see the same 10 people all day long. All they do is, you know, come up with crazy conspiracy theories and, you know, and this and that. And again, so, you know, let's not give attention to those things. But when you start to dig into it, you start to see the level of obsession, I guess maybe you call it, in a bad way, of people spending time on this. It's really, you know, it gets to be a little scary, being honest, you know, and certainly, you know, our employees get harassed on a daily level. Our investors get harassed. Our developers get harassed. My wife gets harassed. Her family gets harassed on social media. My mom, you know, it's disgusting behavior.
Yeah.
And it's not everybody who hates Amico. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying, but there is a section of people out there, unfortunately. And let me also go on record as saying is that if you don't like Amico, you're not a hater. That doesn't make you a hater because you don't like Amico or you think our games suck. That doesn't make you a hater. I refer to haters as people who are going out of their way to spread misinformation and to harm people, and who make fun of people who like Amico. That's another big one, Dan, right? It's like there's people out there who make videos making fun of people who like Amico. They harass them, they bully them. I mean, so those people, those are the haters. It's a very small group of people.
Absolutely. No, it can't be easy. Apologies to people watching online. It looks like the video's dropped, but it is still recording, so you'll be able to see this when it goes live. On Tommy's end, it is still recording his video. So I've only really got a couple more questions here. So obviously in my unboxing video, we explained about how unknown the name in television here is in the UK. Do you have any plans to get it more well known here in the UK?
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, one of the things too that I think is important is that, you know, we didn't need the name in television to do what we wanted to do, right? People are like, oh, why did they pick that name? No one knows
that was asked of you as well, yeah.
Yeah, and again, totally fair question, but I just want folks to realize that we didn't take in television the name and the IPs. We didn't purchase that and do all that stuff because we thought people are going to recognize it right away and we're going to get name recognition because of that. There's a little bit of that here in America for anyone who's over 40. You know, they might remember the name in television. But for me personally, it was because it was the machine that I grew up on. It was the machine that I love. It was the machine in the 70s and 80s that was known to be the best couch co-op, the best multiplayer, the best family. You know, it had games for kids like Math Fun and Word Fun. And, you know, so it had sports games that everybody, you know, you needed a second player. It didn't even have AI. You needed my little brother was the AI, right? Because we had to play together. And so, the thing that is routed in television history, and again, let me be clear, very clear, because there have been some nefarious, lying big YouTubers out there who recently said that we don't have anyone who worked on the old Intellivision. That's completely untrue. Again, these are part of the problem. These are people who lie every week so that they can create drama and create more views, so that they can earn $20 more, on YouTube that week. But, a recent lie was that we don't have people who worked on the original Intellivision. That's not true. Anyone can go to our Intellivision page, go into our team, and you'll see Bill Fisher, who's a vice president of our company. He started at Intellivision 1981. That's when he was hired by Mattel to start working on Intellivision stuff. Steve Roney, who is the co-founder of this new Intellivision Entertainment with me. He started in 1981 as well. These are the guys who programmed B-17 Bomber and games like Space Spartans and Space Hawk and all these things. So to say that we have a section of our building that has a whole ton of all original paperwork, advertisements, artwork, cartridge. I can give you cartridges here that were the original test cartridges, the original test machines from back then. So there is some DNA that is still left there, and anyone who says differently is lying or is misinformed. So so for us in television, the logo, the font, there's a lot of stuff there that everybody who's with the company, not everybody, but a great majority of the people, it attaches us to our childhood, just like maybe an Amstrad does for you or a Sega Genesis is for you, so that's why it's more about the legacy stuff. And by the way, Intellivision has a hell of a legacy. We have a section on our page, and I'd recommend anyone checking it out. Go to Intellivision.com and look at our legacy page, and you'll see that Intellivision pioneered so many things in the video game industry. Did you know Intellivision was the very first to have a directional pad? And this was 16 directions, right? So the D-pad that we all know and love, Intellivision did it first. You know what else Intellivision did first? It was the very first video game system to put a pause button on the controller. It was the very first video game to ever have voice in it. It was the first video game system to ever use sports licensing. NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL hockey. Intellivision was the first. It was the first God game or real-time strategy game called Utopia. It was the first world-building game. That was the first. So many different things. It was the first 16-bit processor. Before the Mega Drive, before the TurboGrafx, before all that stuff. We did it a decade before. It was a 16-bit processor. Lots of different things that Intellivision pioneered, but here's the biggest one that'll blow your mind.
Go on.
It was the very first video game system to ever have digital distribution. What? Yes, it was called the Intellivision Play Cable, and it hooked up to your cable, and for $12 a month, you could download new Intellivision games into your system. And it was a $12 a month subscription fee, and you could download games and play them. First time, decades before people did that, Intellivision did. So we're proud of that legacy as well, too. So, yeah.
There we go. And finally then, the very final question from Tom Gentle over on Twitter, who asks, what's the plan for the company post-launch of the Amico? Are there any intentions of expanding their hardware portfolio, or is the focus purely on supporting the Amico for the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I would say for the next couple years, doing focusing on the software is our most important thing. Now, that being said, we have, I call this I have my Wonka book here, and this is where all the ideas, go into. And so myself and the design team have started thinking about and drawing on paper and even in 3D renderings. We have some hardware things, add-ons, certain designs, this and that. But that's probably not something that you would see for another 2 to 3 years, as you mentioned. Mm-hmm. So yeah, our focus right now, getting Amico out there, continuing building the software library, and getting it to as many people as possible. And that in itself is one heck of a job, especially for a company that has just over 50 to 60 employees,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we've come to the end there. That was a long interview, but like I say, I am a supporter of the Amico. Until I get it and it doesn't work, I'm gonna support it. Basically, I
appreciate that. That's all I ask. All I ask of people is to keep an open mind before you play it. That's all. And unfortunately, it seems in this day and age that's asking too much. But I like your approach, Dan, and I would say that to everyone out there, keep an open mind until you get it in your hands.
Yeah, I mean, I am getting.
That's why we do so many of those videos. Go to our YouTube channel and look at all the people who've played it. Mm-hmm. They all like it a lot. And Dan, I hope I'll be putting one in your hands by the end of this year. I hope to make a trip over to the UK or have our European president, Hans, come and visit you. I want to put one in your living room and get your honest thoughts, with you and your family playing it.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Like I say, I am a backer anyway. I do. I am willing to do it. And I do get people ask me all the time, are you going to do a Kick Scammer episode on the Amico? Are you going to do a Kick Scammer episode on the Amico all the time?
I hope not.
Yeah. If the console comes out and it's, like I say, a broken, and it's, in all of those lies are actually they were lies, and it was all that the misinformation was, then yes.
Tear me apart. You have every, and if we have controller drift and our
like the Switch does.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that with a caveat to say, hey, look, again, we're a small company. Even Nintendo screws up their firmware updates, right? Remember when their whole store was offline for a couple of days?
Yeah.
Even they have hardware drift. Even Microsoft, with their billions of dollars, had the red ring of death. So, and again, I'm not saying that to excuse anything, but what I'm saying is, it is interesting that no matter how many billions of dollars you have, to put it on a level of difficulty, no matter how many billions of dollars you have, how many tens of thousands of people work for your company, there's still, and no matter how many decades you've been in, a revenue generating business, there's still problems. Mm-hmm. It's hard stuff. So, yes, are we going to encounter things that are going to be wrong when it comes out? Of course we are. Not drinking. Sony, what was the first thing you did when you plugged in your PlayStation 5? Did you or did you not have to download new firmware for the controller?
Yeah, it's a good few hours before I could even do anything with it. Yeah.
So, and again, if that's Sony, then, dollars to donuts. I bet that we're going to probably have some initial issues that we're going to have to wrinkle out as well. So yeah. Well, like that's just being honest. That's just the nature of the game.
Yeah, I'm going to support it until I am because it's the sort of thing that I am genuinely quite interested in. There are definite things that I would have done differently, but hey, you're the boss and I'm not. So, But regardless, Tommy, thank you so much for coming on. And there's been some pretty hardcore hitting questions, I think, in this. So I think you've answered them all. And hopefully people who are watching this have got some good answers on that. And like I say, if you didn't watch part 1, please do go check out that as well, because we looked into the old school days of Mr. Tommy Tallarico, with his Earthworm Gyms and Global Gladiators, Aladdin, all that sort of stuff. So regardless, I really appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much, Dan. I really appreciate it. Look forward to playing Amico with you, hopefully as soon as possible.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Well, thank you very much, everyone. And this is DJ Soap signing out. And hopefully I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everyone.